going to meet the man who, of course, transcends sport, who must be the most instantly recognised face in the world. And that face, by the way, is still unmarked, despite the fact that the hardest punchers have hit it from time to time. Well, he's in the Northeast, as you said, to raise funds for the National Association of Boys Clubs, and he's done it off his own back, by the way, and in particular the Tyne and Weir Club. And he just loves meeting people, and that's why we're going to have a lot of fun with him, a no punches pulled session. Well, he is a familiar face, of course, to World of Sport, and what a pleasure it is to greet again the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali. Well, Mohammed, I've been around the world with you quite a bit. What a reception that is. Isn't that fantastic? Are you enjoying yourself in the Tyneside?
It really is. I'm so happy I came here for the benefit of the Boys Club. I never knew I had so many old people and young people, and just everybody seemed to recognize me. I'm at the end of the road in boxing, probably another year or less, I'll retire. But looking at all of this makes me want to start all over again.
It really does. I mean, do you continue boxing because you're still enjoying the glory of it, or you need the money?
Well, I don't really need the money, and I don't need the glory. But
I'll rephrase that question.
I enjoy boxing. I'll be sad the day I quit. I've been boxing since I was 12 years old. I'm 35 now. I know I don't look it, but I'm 35 now. 35 years old now, and I have to get out soon. I want to get out while I'm champion. I don't want to stay around like 99% of the fighters do, wind up on the back. But I fight because I still like it. The things that I want to do, holding the world heavyweight title opens a lot of doors, gets you a lot of trips to a lot of countries. You get to go on a lot of television shows. When you're the champion, the day you retire, people don't really forget, but there's another champion, then he's in that spotlight. And I'm receiving publicity, and I attract people in a way that no other athlete has ever done. And I'm enjoying it, and a lot of things I want to promote as far as human rights, as far as people uniting, coming together, and loving, respecting one another, helping bring peace to the world. There's a lot I can do with the title. And the longer I hold it, the more I do, so that's why I stay in it.
Tell me, would you like to reveal who you're going to fight next?
My next fight will be with a fellow who knocked out Jimmy Young a year or so ago, and Ken Norton said that he don't want to fight him. Ken Norton will fight everybody but this man, and his name is Ernie Schaefers. He's the number 4 contender in the world. He hits real hard. And I'm going to fight him probably in Yankee Stadium, Persia, a country called Iran, one of those two. And it's going to be a good fight, and people are saying that my reflexes are gone, I cannot dance no more, age done got me. And this is what's going to make the fight big, because possibly they think this might be the fall of Muhammad Ali. Yeah. But they are wrong as usual.
Were you unhappy with your showing? Mohammed, in view of what you've just said, were you unhappy with your showing in the Ken Norton fight? Is that what you're saying?
No, the Ken Norton fight, I was in top shape. I did my best. He happens to have a style that's hard for me to fight. boxing is only styles. You take George Foreman. If he come out of retirement and fought Ken Norton, he'll knock him out. If he fight Jimmy Young, he might lose again. But Ken Norton comes at you. He can't back up. He always comes in. And he's made for people like George Foreman to hit, where Jimmy Young is always running. He's hard to hit. So it's styles that make fighters.
Well, we're going to turn now, Mohammed, to meet the Geordies and, of course, some of the champions that we're in the audience to ask some questions to keep you going. And the first question comes from a local councillor here, right in the front. Would you like to ask the question, please?
I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the Eldon Square Recreation Centre and ask you the first question. Could I ask you, Ali, what has been your greatest impression of the people in the city of Newcastle since you arrived here?
Well, the greatest impression that I've had here is the peace that's in the city, the serenity, the unity, and the cleanliness. I've never saw no streets in my country, America, so clean. I've never saw people so orderly and obedient to the policeman. I asked the police officer, "Where's your pistol?" He said, "Man, we don't need that here. In America, you need 4 policemen have to ride in the same car to guard each other. They all need on 2 pistols and a rifle and a shotgun and a big dog in case that don't work." and they're all riding. You all are so civilized and so clean, and the city is just like heaven. This city, England, is heaven compared to America. In America, last weekend in Chicago, 12 people died fighting each other. A week before that, 24 died. They all happen to be my people, black people. Every day it's a murder, a killing, a robbery. In Ohio, the women are too afraid to come out at night because they get raped. And what impressed me so is I never believed that I could come to see so many people who were actually practicing the Christian religion, living it, not just preaching it, but living it. You all practice what people in my country preach.
We're going to the next question now. This is a former featherweight champion, Bobby Neal, who would like to ask you a question.
He boxed?
He was champion.
What did he box? Oranges, bananas,
kippers?
grapes?
Right, Bobby.
Mohammed, a few years ago you reported in the press as saying that when you retire from boxing, boxing will be finished. Are you still of that opinion today?
Well, when I said that, I don't mean boxing will be finished. It'll just be flying a lot lower than it is now, a lot slower. Like, for an example, the Concorde, the airplane. If you take Concorde, if you were a pilot, or if you were a passenger who flew on the Concorde, or if you were a pilot, then you might say if the Concorde is no longer flying, that's the end of flying. It's not the end of flying per se. There'll be props and helicopters and this and that, but there'll be no more fast, good trips like the Concorde. So there'll be boxing when I'm out, but there'll be no more poetry. There'll be no more shuffles. There'll be no more predicting. There'll be no more, like, I myself, I'm surprised at the people that line the streets of the countries that I go to, Africa, Pakistan, Morocco, Syria, Scotland, France, London. I mean, people line the streets just like your queen was coming through. And athletes themselves that are around me have never saw. God has blessed me to attract more than just boxing fans. So therefore, when I quit, it won't, boxing will still be. They'll make gloves, boys will box, but there'll never be a fighter, I think, in our lifetimes that can draw 2 billion people to watch a fight, which is 2,000 million. It's 4 billion people on the planet, and every time Muhammad Ali steps in the ring, 2 billion people watch the actual fight or the rerun, and they're conscious of the results. 2 billion, how many million is in all England?
I'll put it, that's
No,
enough
there's
money for the
200 million.
promoters, I'll
There's
tell you
200 million people in America. How many people in England?
Well, not as
Roughly,
nearly
how
as
many?
many as that,
How many?
quarter of that.
What's the
Quarter.
population of England?
A quarter of that, isn't it?
Roughly.
About, 50 million?
50? 50 million? Well,
Fight fans or people?
no, I'm talking just people in England. How many, what's the
Or Ali
population
fans?
roughly?
Well, all of them know you, whoever they
No,
are.
what's
don't-
the population?
I don't really know that offhand. About 55 million.
55 million.
Yeah, 50 to
Well,
55.
Well, picture everybody in England. There's a lot of people out here. Picture everybody in England and magnify 55 million to 2,000 million. Well, that's how many watch my fights.
Yeah.
So I think that after I'm through boxing, when I say it'll be over for like Mecca, Morocco, Syria, Tunisia, Pakistan, Iran.
Yeah.
People who never follow fights follow my fights.
Mohammed.
So I would say when I'm finished, that'll be finished. But they'll go back to the boxing fans, the cigar smoking, the old fellas that come to the fights and, hey, knock 'em out, champ. Just those people still be around, but not the pretty girls. They won't follow it.
We've got another question now. We have the present European light welterweight champion, Dave Green, who fought Carlos
He's
Sullivan.
here.
He's here. On you go, Dave.
I didn't know he was so ugly.
I'd just like to say that I had the pleasure this morning to be in the company of Muhammad Ali, and I was amazed at the reception he got in Newcastle. And I'd just like to know how that competes with the rest of the world.
I will tell you one thing, my friend. Being a black man, I get these type of receptions all throughout Africa and Asia. But this is the first time in a European country that I've ever had so much fanfare and people admiring me and loving me and coming out to meet me and greet me like this. This is the first time. This is the first time. I've never saw so many people lining the streets. I mean, old people, people who couldn't even walk good, couldn't even see. One lady said, "Hey, Muhammad Ali." She had a cane. And it really bring tears to your eyes to see people that old really knowing you and falling and getting trampled over, little bitty children, and then so far from America. This is really a blessing from God to have so many fans. There's a lot of people on earth, and to be recognized as the most popular person in the world, and being from America, this is really a blessing and makes me feel real good.
Right, Mohammed. Okay, we have a next question right up here in the balcony here. Right, sir.
I personally thought your best performance was against Cleveland Williams. What do you consider your best performance yourself?
Manila, Joe Frazier, the third fight with Joe Frazier.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Reason I say so, Williams was a mediocre fighter, never was a great fighter like Joe Frazier. And I was much younger then, real young, like 25, 26. When I fought Joe Frazier, I was like 33 years old. And Joe Frazier is much rougher than Williams, and I came through that night really good. So that's the way I look at it. I fought a much better fighter, and I was old at the time, and still got by like I did. So that, don't you agree? That was the best one. Yeah. But I would say I may have looked more pretty and classy with Williams doing the shuffle and all that stuff.
So we've got a young boy there we'd like to ask you a question, Mohammed. I think that'll go well.
Mohammed, could you tell us what's your prediction for your next fight, please?
There's a nice Geordie voice for you.
My prediction for the next fight is I'll be there. That's all. I have no prediction. I used to predict the exact round and write poems on how we'll do it, but I'm not really that good yet. I remember I fought your local champion, Henry Cooper, way back in 1963.
63 and 6, yes.
Yeah, you all were real young. You probably wasn't born in 63, some of you. And you old men were a lot younger. Back in 63, I predicted, this is no jive. Cooper shall go in 5. In round 2, Cooper hit me with left hook and knocked me down. And you remember that, don't you? Don't you remember that?
Yeah, very much.
You were ringside, running your mouth.
I was looking you in the eye at the time.
I'm telling you
that.
Muhammad Ali is down. He's down. The big mouth is shut. The big mouth is shut. The big mouth is shut. How's he going to explain? Didn't you?
I wouldn't do that to you. Listen, would you like to give me... Mohammed, I'm not going to rumble with you. You're too big for me. Would you like to give me Muhammad Ali, the Legend poem, please?
Oh, you like that poem?
Yeah.
That's when I was writing poems. This is the legend of Muhammad Ali, the prettiest fighter there ever will be. He talks a great deal, he brags indeed, of a powerful punch and blinding speed. The fistic world was dull and wearied. With a champ like Foreman, things had to be dreary. Now someone with color, someone with dash. He brings fight fans a running with cash. This brash young boxer is something to see, and the heavyweight championship is his destiny. Ali fights great. He's got speed and endurance. If you sign to fight him, increase your insurance. Ali's got a left, Ali's got a right. If he hits you once, you're asleep for the night. And as you lie on the floor while the ref counts 10, you better hope and pray you don't meet me again. For I'm the man this poem is about, the true champion of the world, there isn't a doubt. Once I predicted and I knew the score. I told him I'd be champ of the world in '64. When I say 3, they go in the 3rd. Don't bet against me, I'm a man of my word. Do you remember when I predicted Sonny Liston's dismemberment? I hit him so hard, he forgot where October and November went. If I tell you a mosquito could pull a plow, don't ask how, hitch him up.
Mohammed, I'd like to ask you, I have a son 9 years old who takes boxing lessons at the Moorside Boys Club. What advice would you give to a young boxer?
The advice I would give a young boxer is not to try to make it his profession. Use his brains, his mind, take advantage of his youth, and learn, because young people learn much quicker than old people. Go to school, get an education, take up a trade, go to college. See, everybody was born for a purpose. Trees have a purpose. Everything God created has a purpose. The moon has a purpose, I tell children. The rain, snow, cats, dogs, everything you can think of was put here for a purpose. And most surely, human beings have a purpose too. And the wise man is he who knows his life purpose. 10 people with the knowledge of the purpose are more powerful than 1,000 without the purpose. So I would tell a child to find out what it is they want to be, whether a doctor, a lawyer, a school teacher, a jet plane pilot, a mechanic, a carpenter. Try to do something where your mind would depend on if you make it or not, because your body could get sick, you could get a broken leg, or his health could be bad, or he might not make it enough to. And then once he finds out that he can't be a fighter, life becomes a tragedy, and it's too late to presume some type of trade. So while they're young, I wouldn't tell no young man to try to make boxing a profession, because the odds are there might be one Muhammad Ali every 200 years. See?
Right, thank you very much. Right up the back, up in the centre block now we are.
When you had your first fight with Joe Frazier and your comeback, I think you probably realise now, as most people do, that you took it too early. Why was this? Was it that you underestimated Joe Frazier, or were these the only terms the boxing authorities would allow you to come back on, that you were only allowed 2 warm-up fights?
What, you asked me about the first fight?
Yeah, did you take it too early?
First fight, I took it too lightly. I played, I wasn't serious. They took my passport. See, I get a lot of strength out of coming here and seeing you all. Seeing people. When they took my passport for not going to Vietnam, for 3.5 years I couldn't leave the country, and I forgot about how many people followed me and loved me. So when I fought Joe Frazier, I didn't realize how many people were really looking for me to win. But after I lost Joe Frazier, I went to Kuwait. The Emir, the president of Kuwait, he said his wife, his children cried, please don't play with him no more. I went all throughout the world, met kings and leaders of countries. I said, I didn't know that many people watched the Frazier fight. I went back and trained real hard. So I get a lot of strength out of people. I gotta have people around me, I gotta be with people. I got to talk to the people, hug the people, kiss the children. This gives me strength. When I go back to America and realize that there's a place called Newcastle on the planet, and in Newcastle are thousands of people that just holler and wave and admire Muhammad Ali. And days I don't want to run, I'm going to get up and make myself run. Days I don't want to train, I'm going to make myself train. I see some ice cream or cake that I want to eat, I'm going to let it go. Now, there's too many people who know me. So I get a lot of strength when I come out. So the first fight, I hadn't been around the world in 3.5 years. I lost contact with the people. I didn't take the thing serious. I didn't realize what was involved and I lost. But the second time I was ready. Third time I was readier yet.
Yeah, right, Charles. The first fight, all 3 fights were fantastic, really, weren't they?
But the last one,
was
ready.
Was really terrific. I agree with you. We got a young lad here who's standing up on the seat. I hope we can pick him up all right. On the left-hand side, there he is. Yes, sir.
Mohammed, I'd like to know what you're going to do when you retire from boxing.
I think he's probably taking the last count at the moment. I'll do my best to wake him up.
Just sleep. That's all I'm going to do.
That's all he wants to do when he retires.
Now, when I retire from boxing, I really don't know. I want to say something right here. This might make you all think. Life is not really long. Let's say the average person, 30 years old. If you're 30 years old, you are not but about 7 years old. How can I prove it? Add up all the 7, 8, 9 hours you slept for 30 years. Out of 30 years, add up all the nights, last night when you went to bed and woke up this morning, you don't remember a thing. You've been unconscious for about 8 years. If you're 30 years old, you slept about 8 years. Okay. How much traveling have you done in 30 years? From the television station to home, to another country, to another city, to school, to church. You've probably traveled 2 years your life was spent just getting back and forth to where you're going. So there's 8 years of sleeping, 2 years of traveling. There's 30 years out of your life before you accomplish anything. How long do you sit in school? In America, we stay in school from the 12th grade from the 1st grade to 12th grade. Same here?
Yeah, virtually.
6 hours a day?
Yeah.
6 hours a day for 12 years, break it down, you sat in a classroom for 3 years without leaving. Okay, 2 years of traveling, 8 years of sleeping, 3 years of school. How many movies have you went to? How many wrestling matches? How much entertainment? How many movie theaters, live plays, baseball games? Probably 2 years of entertainment. So by the time a man, you older people know him, bear with us what I'm saying, by the time you have children, by the time you have made a way for your children, by the time you've paid for your home, you're pushing 60 years old. So life is real short. So you add up all your traveling, add up all your sleeping, add up all your school, add up all your entertainment, you've probably been half your life doing nothing. So what am I'm 35 years old. 30 more years, I'll be 65. We don't have no more influence. We can't do nothing much at 65. Your wife will tell you that. So what I'm saying, when you're 65, ain't too much more to do. So did you know I'll be 65 in 30 more years? In those 30 years, I have to sleep 9 years. I don't have 30 years of daylight. I have to travel back to America, take 6, 7 miles. All my traveling, probably 4 years of traveling in the next 30 years, about 9 years of sleeping, television, movies, entertainment, about 3 years of entertainment. Out of 30 years, I might have about 16 years to be productive. So it's how we can all break individual lives down. What am I going to do in the next 16 years? What's the best thing I can do?